Right, welcome back to the Naughty Corner. The 40k balance data slate has dropped for March, and we are now going to start talking about one of those factions and the changes that have happened and see where it now sits. Right, today we are talking about this depressing group of people. The reason why I call them depressing is because they irritate the hell out of me, because every Necron player basically takes 2 Satan and makes my life a misery. My first event was a battle for Birmingham, and my first Necron player took 2 Satans, the Silent King, a Volt, and 2 Dooms, and I just blew my Marines off the table. But I think that's an ideal time to start looking at what has happened and the changes for the Necrons, and whether I feel more happy playing into them or whether they can just die in a ditch, metaphorically. So the first thing we're going to look at is a couple of detachments that I think are really nice and really cool, just to give us a bit of a grounding base in it. So obviously the first one is our Hypercrypt Legion. Hypercrypt Legion allows you effectively, in a Strike Force game, which is what we're going to talk about, 2,000 points, up to 3 units at the end of your opponent's turn can uppy downy. And for those that are not familiar with uppy downy, it's where you take the models off the board, they go into strategic reserve, and then they can come back down next turn. Hence, uppy downy. Well done. Reason I like this one is obviously because of uppy downy. It's really useful to reposition models for a tactical objective-based game. But obviously, there is other detachments. There is a Grotmus one. I'm not going to focus on that today. The other one that I really like the idea of is the Abeyance Phalanx, which is with Overlord, Lichguard, or Triarch units from your army, you get to add 1 to the wound roll, where you specifically have strength 9, strength 10s, those sort of things. Really nice to have +1 to wound. I think there is just a lot of nice things in it. If you've got your Overlords and Honourable Combat as an enhancement, you get to gain a CP. Unflinching Will is the Overlord's melee weapons have precision and anti-infantry 5+. Kind of brings it in line with the Asmon change, but it's still nice to just have anti-infantry there. You can also have them have a Warrior Noble, so -1 from the hit roll, which is nice. And then the Eternal Conquer, you can re-roll the hit roll if you're within range of an objective marker the enemy is. So if the enemy's on the objective that you're trying to take with your Overlord or your Lichguard unit, not only are you re-rolling the hit roll, you're also +1 to wound, meaning that the chances are you're going to get through a lot more attacks and damage. From a stratagem point of view, obviously there is 6. Looking at it, I think the Enslaved Artifice is pretty good on a reroll. Get unmodified crits on a 5+. I think that's one Lichguard unit gets precision, so if you need to snipe out some characters, really useful for Suffer No Rival. And then Territorial Obsession is a really nice one. 1 Lichguard or Triarch Praetorian unit from your army. Till the next phase, add 1 to the OC of models in your unit. If your unit has a vehicle keyword, add 3 to it instead. So in actual fact, you can get out a lot of OC there to swing that objective in your favour at the end of the turn. It won't stay. It does stay until your next command phase. It's amazing. Why would we not just do that? That's it. Let's call it a day on that one. Here we go. Okay, so we've had a quick look at the detachments. I think it's time to start thinking about what models are you going to see in a army very regularly if you're seeing Necrons across from the table or you're thinking about setting up a Necron army. I think the thing to start with that I see in every list, and even at 1,000 points, is I see at least 1 Satan Shard. Now these are extremely resilient models. They have a 4+ invuln, 5 up feel no pain. They have 12 wounds, but they half the damage. Interestingly, there is a workaround where if you have a melter weapon, the melter damage is added afterwards. So you only half the dice roll. Things to know. But depending on your choice of Satan, so if you go for the Deceiver, its ranged attack is anti-character 4+, devastating wounds and precision, so you can precision out characters. The Golden Fist is strength 8, -3, damage 3. And just remember, these are toughness 11, which makes it a little bit harder. The Nightbringer has a Gaze of Death, which is D6 plus 3 damage with D3 attacks. Bit situational, but I really like his melee action, the Scythe of the Nightbringer, because you can either do 6 attacks with D6 plus 2 at strength 14 to go through vehicles, or you can do strength 8 minus 2 flat 2, which is ideal marine killing. You can probably wipe out a unit in that, and obviously they still have Deadly Demise as well, drain life on the Nightbringer to basically do some mortal wounds because it needs more damage output. Fucking hate this thing. The Deceiver can redeploy units. Amazing. My opponent didn't do that, but sure. The Void Dragon, which is the new one from the box that came out, has select one enemy vehicle within 12 on a 2+, suffer D3 mortal wounds and regain that number of wounds. Sure. That one, the Void Dragon, is definitely more anti-vehicle. It's got a Spirit of the Void Dragon 2+ to hit, anti-vehicle 2+, D6 plus 2 damage. Sure. The Spear in combat is even worse. 5 attacks, strength 12, doesn't matter because it's anti-vehicle 2+, minus 3, D6 plus 2. If that gets into combat, you are losing vehicles. So I would always see 1 or 2 Satans as a key thing. The next unit that I can start seeing a lot more is the Immortals over the Warriors. I think it's because they've got a better save and their guns slightly better. I think anyway. But it's mainly for each time a mob on this unit makes an attack, reroll wound roll over 1. If the target of the attack is within range of an objective marker, you can reroll with the wound roll instead. So between stratagems in that unit, in the detachment we said earlier, you could be rerolling hits and rerolling wounds on a very potentially hitty unit if you put the right characters and stuff in there. I also think death marks need to go and die in a ditch, just because. Heavy precision, but it's more with the Hypercrypt Legion, in the reinforcement step in your movements phase, they can, when an enemy unit is set up on the battlefield from reserve within 18, they can shoot as if it was their shooting phase. So you're basically getting a lot of efficiency out of a unit because they can shoot out of sequence. So your enemy opponent drops a unit down, potentially slightly squishier one, where it's not got as high toughness or something like that, and it just drops. And again, it's strength 5, so you're going to be wounding Marines on 3, minus 2 AP and damage 2. So again, ideal Marine killers. Something I'd like to see more in games is flayed ones, just because I've got infiltrate and stealth. Just really like them. 4 attacks, strength 4, minus 1 AP, damage 1. Sustained hits and twin linked, so nice chance of wounding. And then I don't know really, like there's so much good stuff in this codex. Things that I would like to see more. I probably would like to see more of the flying croissants, the Night Scythe and the Doom Scythe, because obviously the Night Scythe can actually get you deep striking a unit on turn 1 with Quantum Invader, so a really nice ability there. The Doom Scythe, again, just if it stands firm, hit crits on a 5+, or if it ducks for cover, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So loads of options for it there. I'd also like to see less monoliths. I'd like to see less monoliths, Necron players. They can just go. Yeah. 22 wounds on a toughness 13 model with OC8, which in Hypercrypt can come off the board and come back on somewhere. And it's not as if like, oh, it's really big, its guns are rubbish. No. Death Rays. There's 4 of them. Sustained hits D3, hits on a 3+, strength 12, minus 4, D6 plus 1. If you want lots of damage, this is how you get it. It also has a particle whip for God knows else what reasons, which is blast and 3d6 attacks. Sure, strength 8, minus 1, damage 2. Just with dev wounds as well, because what, you're rolling probably 12 dice? Yeah. Yeah. Lucky us.